SGP and the NFL Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is presented by WynnBET. WynnBET is now live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. From boosted same-game parlays to live in-game odds, WynnBET has what you need to win. Sign up today. Bet $100, get $100 free bet at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBET. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBET. Despite the botching of the ad read, this is the NFL Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It's Monday. He's Ryan McIntyre. I am Rod Villagomez, and that means that today we break down the week that was in the NFL Week 10. And what a week it was, Ryan, as we look back on the NFL games of the weekend and, of course, all the betting angles of it and what it meant to you. But, Ryan, buddy, how did you do this weekend in what was probably one of the most topsy-turvy of all NFL weekends so far?
I did all right. I did well on the propcast with Moon Off on Friday. I filled in for you. So shout out to J Mark for filling in for me last week. And crazy week number 10. It feels like every week is its own identity, I guess, in this NFL so far this year. Potential game of the year with Buffalo and Minnesota. But, of course, everybody knows my voice, knows I'm looking forward to the big Monday night game with Sean Steck and the Money Greens Philadelphia Eagles tonight.
Ryan is always thrilled that we record so early in the day. That way he doesn't miss Monday Night Football. But to this week especially, he's pretty stoked that he doesn't have to miss any part of this game whatsoever. Although, I don't know, Ryan, maybe at the end of it, you may not be saying the same thing.
Yeah, no, we shall see. So it might be one of those you shut it down early. But I think, it's an NFC East battle. So the Eagles got to lose one of these games. Maybe it's to the Heineke's tonight.
Hey, listen, for what it's worth, man, you filling in for the podcast, I think Moonoff is going to have to make me have some appointments over the next several weeks because you brought him some very, very good luck last week.
Yeah, no doubt. He may ask you to just stay away for a little bit. Stay away through the holidays.
I mean, look, if he needs a little extra Christmas money, he needs a little extra Christmas money. I get it. So
yeah, no doubt.
All right. So it was week 10 in the NFL. Obviously, we started on Thursday night. We still got one game to go where it is Washington, as Ryan alluded to, taking on the Eagles at home in Philadelphia. Obviously, Eagles still undefeated. Washington sitting there at 4-5. Washington right now plus 11.5 underdogs. This is such a tempting line, Ryan. I know that everybody thinks Philadelphia can stick folks away, and they can. But lest we forget, this game came down to the wire last time when they met in week 3. So plus 11.5 doesn't seem all that crazy.
No, and I mean, it's a rivalry game. So we saw Philadelphia struggle to cover the big number last week with Houston too. So and the more and more they are undefeated in the hype machine with what's going to be their loss, you see all the graphics going out, who's going to hand the Eagles their first loss. We've seen this with these last undefeated teams. They play a little tight. So I expect a good game tonight. And if you wanted my betting pick, it would be my Washington guys plus the 11. But I don't like betting my own team because if they lose, I don't want to be pissed that I lost money on top of my team losing.
And you don't want to be kept out of the Baseball Hall of Fame. So there's that going for you as well. All right. So week 10 began on Thursday night, as I said, in a game in which I don't even know if anybody was looking forward to it. It was the Atlanta Falcons taking on the Carolina Panthers. Carolina holding serve at home to improve to 3-7, beating the Falcons 25-15. Ryan, the Falcons were 2.5-point favorites in this game. Our streak of Atlanta covering is done, my friend.
Yeah, no. Started 6-0. Now all of a sudden, losers of 4 in a row. ATS 6-4 overall. I think the teams have figured out Mariota. They stack the box, make him a passer, and then if you can get a lead on this team because of how limited they are in the passing game, then you can really get an advantage on them. Shout out to the Panthers though, with PJ Walker winning another game, 2-2 now as a starter. So they've done a good job with the interim coach Wilkes as well. So Dante Form was awesome for him. So we'll see how these Panthers, if they continue to be feisty going forward.
The Houston Roughnecks will be back next season for the XFL. PJ Walker would like to stay in the NFL, so I think he's doing a good job of making his case known. But again, I mean, this is a situation in which Marcus Mariota, 19 of 30, 186 yards, 2 touchdowns, but an interception. But once again, he was the leading rusher. 3 carries, 43 yards for Marcus Mariota. Just an absolute horrific day on offense. The poor Falcons, I mean, again, they were cover machines, but now they're just starting to wear, and the shine is off of them. So I don't know going forward. The fact that they were 2.5-point favorites in this one said it all to you. And I, for Carolina going forward, this could be the sign that they won't be quite as miserable as they've been all season long, but I still don't foresee a lot of great things. Also, shout out real quick to the comments. Shakir Cognito says, I'd rather be out of Baseball Hall of Fame than in it. Yeah, I don't blame you on that one. Especially if it means you can bet on your own team in the process.
No doubt. Yeah, no, these Falcons, they might be in fade territory for a little bit here until they can figure some things out and be more consistent offensively, I think.
Yeah. Well, the over-under on this one was set at 41, and that one did not hit, as I can do quick math, and that's 40. So if you had the over on this one, you were highly disappointed by a single point. Unfortunately, it did not cover. All right. We're not going to waste any more time on the Panthers and or the Falcons. Falcons have now burned us far too many times to want anything to do with them anymore. So let's move over to the game that, look, I don't know if the announcers were paid to be heaping praise on the German audience as much as they were, but I got to tell you, I was done. I get it, guys. It was an electric atmosphere. You don't have to keep beating me over the head with it in Germany, but Seattle, Tampa Bay playing over there in Germany. And Germany had a NFL Europe team. So, of course, they know NFL football because they have the style over there. Anyways, sorry, soapbox. I'm on it. Seattle, 2.5-point underdogs, did not cover as Tampa Bay beat them 21-16. Ryan, you want to interject?
Oh, no, I was just, my pen kind of slipped, so then I grabbed it. Yeah, no, I caught
I thought maybe I had the wrong country. I don't know. I was like, wait, they were in Germany, right?
Yeah, no, that's my bad for throwing you off. But yeah, no, I mean, the Germany crowd was electric, and my favorite part was them singing Country Roads, being a West Virginia guy, so I started singing with the Germans. But football-wise, good win for Tom Brady and the crew to get to 5-5. I think they're going to win this division in the end, and we'll see. They're probably going to be the last division seed in terms of division winners in the NFC, probably the 4th seed. They're getting better finally running the ball, which we've been yelling at them to for about a month now, to establish a run to get Tom Brady, take a little pressure off. Rachaad White, 22 carries for 105. Fournette was okay as well. Outside of that awful trickery play where he decided he was QB number 2.
Yeah, I was going to say, just don't put him back there in the backfield to throw the pass anymore. Tom Brady, look, I get that he slipped, but that was an ugly play already. I mean, I didn't know that was even going to be successful, even if he didn't slip.
Yeah, no doubt. I didn't get the play call because they were running the ball right down Seattle's throats, and then they got cute. Honestly, it gave Seattle life. And I know Seattle lost, but this was another impressive game from Geno Smith through the air. The Seahawks, they could easily just mailed it in. Hey, we're 6-3. We're just going to lose this one, go to 6-4, and we'll regroup when we get back to the States. But they almost came all the way back if Tampa Bay doesn't bleed out the clock at the end.
For me, being a Niners fan, it was okay. I don't mind seeing Seattle lose, especially given the outcome of the game on last night for the Niners. But yeah, by and large, this was a Seattle game that wasn't necessarily up to par, obviously, from what it was used to over the last few weeks. So, like you said, they're going to have to regroup going back to the States. But for Tom Brady, I mean, look, for so much of this game, I just saw the look in his eyes, still thinking to myself, did I make the right decision? Like, especially after that interception in which he obviously didn't throw, but still, that guy's face constantly looks like he's second guessing his life.
Hey, he is 2-0 since the official divorce, so maybe that's what got the mojo going back in the right direction. It'll be interesting to see what the Bucs going forward. From here, they go. I think they have their bye, and then I mean, it's all about. I think we all agree that they're going to win the division. Like I said a little bit ago, yeah, they do have the bye. It's about peaking at the right time and putting together some more consistency because. They still have a good defense, a lot of pride in that organization, and they have a championship experience. So they get in the dance. We'll see what happens.
Well, he's got some of those receivers humming along too. Godwin,
Julio.
Evans, Julio. I was just about to say Julio back in the mix now. So, I mean, maybe this is a good run that he's about to put together.
And you can't count Tom Brady out officially until he's finally done. As long as he's still playing, you can't officially count him out.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is the case. And even still, I mean, you can't count him out of the whole thing, to be honest with you. If he's still, the only time you can't count him out is when he's mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. So you definitely can't do that either.
No doubt. There you go.
Our question.
I love this YouTube feature where we can be interactive with the chat. So I'm going to let you take this one, Rod, because this is your NFC West expertise. Sharquin, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, but who do you guys think will win the NFC West? Rod, do you think your Niners catch the Seahawks ultimately, or what do you think?
Well, I tell you, as long as Jimmy does not throw another touchdown pass the rest of the season, we're winning every game. So I'm just saying that's the key to success, and we'll ride it all the way to the NFC Championship. But honestly, what's up, Justin? Who I think is going to win the West, I really do think this is the 49ers at this point. I know Seattle was on a Cinderella run for a little while, but you've got a powerhouse now brewing in San Francisco. So I'm definitely really feeling the fact that they can make a good run for this. And to be honest with you, they just got to score more touchdowns. That's the one thing standing in their way of actually dominating the NFC West is touchdowns instead of field goals.
Yeah, no doubt. That's crazy that they always win whenever Jimmy G doesn't throw a touchdown. So yeah, like you said, hopefully he continues not to throw and the defense continues to cook.
I like that recipe because that means that they win. So give it to me all day long. All right, let's close the chapter on that NFC West team. Let's move over to an AFC West team in Kansas City. They continue their hot record going and record accumulating at 7-2 now. They down the Jacksonville Jaguars 27-17, a lot closer than it needed to be, but still covering the spread about plus 9.5 in some spots. There are books offering this at -6 for Kansas City, which is obscene, but whatever. And so anyways, doesn't matter what the spread was. Kansas City covered, whether it was 9.5 or whether it was -6. But Kansas City, like I said, improves to 7-2. Jacksonville now drops to 3-7, still jockeying for that first pick in the overall draft.
Yeah, no, this game was frustrating for me because I had Jacksonville plus 10. I got it the better of the number, I guess they say. So, but I mean, they should have covered this game. They missed multiple field goals, and then they have a touchdown wiped away because they have an illegal man downfield. Just the Jaguars doing Jaguar things. For the Chiefs, all of a sudden you look up, the Bills drop a couple games, and those Kansas City Chiefs are right back in the 1 seed as of through week number 10 in the AFC.
You know, for Trevor Lawrence, 29 completions, 259 yards, 2 touchdowns. That would normally be a pretty decent day for a quarterback. And for Trevor Lawrence, that's probably about the ceiling that you can expect more often than not. But still, that team does not have enough around him to be able to cash in on that. Travis Etienne, 11 carries, 45 yards. Not a great running day for the guy that really crowned himself as that number 1 running back after James Robinson left. Christian Kirk always remains Lawrence's favorite target. 9 catches, 105 yards, 2 touchdowns for Kirk. So again, good things going on there. But what else do the Chiefs have? Honestly, the Jaguars have. I know the Chiefs have. What do the Jaguars have?
Yeah, no, the Jaguars are. I mean, they're young. They're, I guess, feisty, but like they just continue to find ways to lose games. And shout out to J Mark. He says your mic is better now. So I guess we had a little audio discrepancy. But another question in the chat: are the Chiefs going to be the 1 seed? That is a good question. I'm going to say the Bills still get it done. I know the Bills, they've lost 2 in a row, but we kind of saw them do this last year where it was about this point where they lost that last game to New England, then they went on their run. I think the Chiefs get bored in the regular season with Mahomes because they're so good and they fuck around basically, and they will drop a game or two. So because Buffalo went to Kansas City and has the tiebreakers, I think Buffalo ends up getting the 1 seed, but Buffalo's cornered themselves in now where they got to win out potentially to get the 1 seed.
Buffalo, boy, you got to tell you, they cornered themselves absolutely, and they did it to themselves too. And we'll talk about that when we get to their game. But as far as the Chiefs are concerned, it's the Chiefs, man. We've seen this story play out where they'll suck for a couple of games and then they'll just come back thundering down the stretch. And again, I just feel like this is a Kansas City Chiefs team that it's theirs to lose. So I feel like it'll be the Chiefs winning out and actually representing. The 1 seed is going to be between, I think, the Bills and the Chiefs, honestly, when it comes down to it. So,
and that will be the AFC Championship, we think. I mean, I know, like you said, they've lost some games, so we'll see. But, I mean, I still think those two are on the collision course. I mean, even with all the mistakes we saw when Buffalo needed a drive to get a field goal, it's just like that with Josh Allen. And we see that with Mahomes all the time. So I think both teams would be playing their best football come January.
Absolutely. And they're going to need to, obviously, if they're going to meet each other in the championship. All right, we got more games to break down, but we've got to pay some bills first. So let's step away. Speaking of bills, we're going to step away and we'll come back with the rest of the slate. But first, let me ask you ready to win money and boost your odds? WynnBET is now live, and get this: Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. I lost count. We're bringing the excitement of Wynn Las Vegas to online sports betting and casino play. You get exclusive rewards right at your fingertips, and be on the lookout for the WynnBET Win Hour each Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. During that WynnBET Win Hour, marquee games of the week are going to have better odds on WynnBET, giving you a larger payout opportunity. You want great promos? You want odds, payouts? It's all happening right now at WynnBET. From boosted same-game parlays to live in-game odds on every major sport, WynnBET has what you need to win. You ready to play? Sign up today. Get a special offer. Bet $100, win $100. There's so much to choose from. All you got to do is head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBET so they know that we sent you. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bet today. Offer subject to exchange. Terms and conditions. WynnBET.com. Must be 21 older. Present in the state of play through WynnBET is available. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. All right. So let's continue on down the path of our games, and we'll move to the Houston Texans. You want to talk about falling off a cliff. Houston Texans had such high hopes for the season with their new revamped offense, and now it just feels like this is the same old Houston Texans team, and they are sorely missing a marquee quarterback, but they've got a fantastic running back. I will tell you that, but they do fall to the Giants 24-16 in New York. Giants now 7-2. Houston 7-1. Houston failed to cover their 5.5-point spread in the process. So, I'm not even sure how much hashtag analysis we need to provide for this game, other than the fact that Houston is going to be locked in that number 1 spot for the draft if they continue down this road. Whereas the Giants, we were talking a little bit offline about the Vikings and being suspect. How about this Giants team? I know what the company policy is on the New York Giants, and I know that Kramer would probably fire me if I just searched their name, but I don't know, man. How solid is this 7-2 record for the Giants?
Not very solid at all. I'll be the bad guy. Yeah, no, I truly do believe this Giants team is fraudulent, but there's something said, like the Vikings, for finding ways to win all these close games. And who would have thought through week 10, Brian Daboll and the Giants have a better record than the Buffalo Bills, where he came from. So, yeah, these Giants are finding ways to win, and they got the Lions on deck, so potentially a chance to get to 8-2. But then the schedule gets a little more difficult with 2 games against the Eagles. They got to play the Cowboys again. They got to play Washington again twice, or not again, but they got to play Washington twice, where I think both those 2 teams are evenly matched. So we'll see if they can hang on and find a way to get in these playoffs. The headline, I think, with the Giants is how good Saquon Barkley is. 35 carries for 152. He's back. He's having a great year. I'm happy for him.
I am so glad that I just talked myself into grabbing him on one of my teams. I was debating on whether or not I wanted to take him, and I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to do it. And I'm glad because he won me the week with that performance. So I was very, very excited. I'm not rooting for the Eagles tonight.
Hey, shout out to J Mark stirring the pot in the chat.
But no, for real. And that's really, I think, an encouraging thing for the Giants, because we've seen this so many times that as Barkley goes, the Giants go as well. And with Barkley doing well again, then because Darius Slayton cannot carry the team all by himself, even though he had a great game this week where he had 3 catches for 95 yards and a touchdown, one, of course, being 95 yards, that catch. But, again, this has got to be a run first team. And I know that we love Daniel Jones, but 13 of 17 for 197 and 2 touchdowns. That's more of a Trevor Lawrence line than anything, and even a great Daniel Jones line at that. But this did not hit the over, by the way. You got caught by the hook on this one. 40.5 was the line. There was 40 points scored in this game.
Yeah, no, these two teams, this was an easy under, I think, for all of us. I mean, the Giants are going to play conservative ball control football, and the Texans are just bad. But you know what? I will give the Texans credit under Lovie Smith. They don't quit. So they're just not very good roster-wise, and they do have a bright spot, I think, in rookie running back Dameon Pierce.
Dameon Pierce. I'm glad you brought him up because that was the next thing I was going to talk about. That guy is for real. 94 yards on the day for Dameon Pierce on 17 carries. He had a big chunk of a 44-yarder. Did fumble, didn't find the end zone. Unfortunately, that was the one drawback of the day for Dameon Pierce. But I think, yeah, they definitely have a good solid. We talk about him every single week as far as the pedigree of Houston running backs. And I think is another one in that line that Houston can hang their hat on. Now, all they need to do is surround him with some more talent so that he can not be the only offensive weapon on that team.
Yeah, no doubt. And they'll address that in April. That's where this Texans team is. They will, I think the one game that they're going to circle, it's going to be the Deshaun Watson game in a couple of weeks. They're going to get up for that game. But other than that, I mean, they're in cruise control. They want the number 1 pick.
Yep. Who doesn't at this point? I think they need a quarterback, and that's probably the best way to address it going forward. All right, let's talk about somebody else I think that needs a quarterback, and that is the New Orleans Saints. I know they have the Red Rocket, the Red Rifle, the Red Dragon, I don't know, whatever you want to call Andy Dalton, but he is not red hot at this point. He is just basically holding on to the reins before they decide it's done. New Orleans 3-7 now as they fall to the Pittsburgh Steelers of all teams, 20-10. Kenny Pickett coming out victorious in this contest, but it wasn't even him that got the job done, to be honest with you, in this game. Pittsburgh now 3-6, New Orleans 3-7, and Pittsburgh does cover their 1.5 point underdog spread. I don't even know how to break this game down short of the Saints. There was so much excitement about them coming into this season and everything that they were going to accomplish, and their win totals were set pretty high. And there's a lot of folks saying, oh yeah, Saints are going to win the South. I mean, it's not like they're that far out, to be honest with you, but after a game like this, I don't know that those are well-founded thoughts anymore.
Yeah, I couldn't believe the Saints were favored early in the week. The Steelers were my lock of the week, so I felt great about this game from the beginning. Tomlin great off a bye. And we see with the Steelers how good they are defensively when TJ Watt is in the lineup. So good to see him back. This Saints team is one of the more disappointing teams this year. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah, I mean it's when you look at what they could, and Alvin Kamara is such a huge name, and yet week after week we're not seeing him on the highlight reels. Like
No
there's
doubt.
just we're used to seeing him every week on SportsCenter doing just fantastic things and getting into the end zone and breaking off big runs. And tell me when the last time you've seen an Alvin Kamara highlight that makes you go, oh wow.
Not one that comes to my head. I mean, I guess he had the 3 touchdown spurt against the Raiders, but other than that, he hasn't done anything all year. It's just been a very puzzling team in New Orleans, and then you got to wonder what they're going to do with Dennis Allen going forward, because they were buyers in free agency. They thought they had a chance to win the division and dethrone the Bucs. You said it; they're not out of it, but I mean, we got to start seeing some life like yesterday.
Tully, and for them, they still have a shot. We keep saying they still have a shot because they still kind of have a shot in the NFC South.
Because they're in a bad division, yeah.
They're in a terrible division. But you can't lose to teams that don't throw touchdown passes. You can't do that, right?
No. I mean, it was embarrassing. I mean, they never had a shot to win the game either. So I guess the Saints going forward, I don't know if this is a team we can back, although I'm looking at their schedule on Sunday. They play the Rams. So if there is a get right spot, they found a team that's struggling worse than them coming in Sunday into the Superdome.
Indeed. All right. So the over-under on this one was set at 39.5. Don't even got to tell you that one didn't cash. So, although it is funny though, because if you look at it, both New Orleans and the Steelers were underdogs in this on some cases. New Orleans came in as +1 on some books, whereas Pittsburgh was +1.5 on other books. So even the books had no clue what the hell to do with this game. So as a bettor, I don't know what you were able to do either. I hope you won whatever side of it you bet on.
Yeah, hopefully you took the Steelers.
I hope so.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to the Detroit Lions and the Chicago Bears. Justin, I know you're listening right now at this point on the live stream, so you might want to cover your ears as we go over this game. Heartbreaker in Chicago as the Detroit Lions come out with the 1-point win over the Chicago Bears, covering their 3.5-point underdog spread. Justin Fields did his damnedest again to take this Bears team into victory lane, if I can coin a NASCAR phrase here, but unfortunately did not come up with the win for the Bears, although the over hit on this for sure, as the line was set at about 50.5. So 61 points. Again, back of the napkin math means that over hit. But these Lions, these pesky Lions, Ryan, they do this to teams every other week or so and just piss them off. And this was another in the line of that.
They finally won 2 games in a row under Dan Campbell. So shout out to those Lions. And it's their first road win in the Dan Campbell era. Disappointing loss and gut-wrenching loss for Chicago, up multiple scores in the fourth quarter. They should have won this game. A couple turnovers by Fields. I know he was awesome on the ground, but a couple youth mistakes, I would say. But the Bears offensively have found something and have an identity of running the football. So they are fun to watch. And I think we just keep taking the overs with the Chicago Bears. That's where we're at. That makes no sense if you had said that a month ago.
No, given the fact that, Fields still doesn't necessarily complete a ton of passes. In fact, he doesn't even put up a lot of passes. 20 attempts, 12 completions, 2 touchdowns. I mean, 1 interception, gross, but still, those types of numbers are like, what? I don't even get it. And then, of course, on the ground, killing it for the second week in a row, 13 carries, 147 yards did Fields get. 1 gigantic 67-yard scamper, 2 touchdowns on the ground as well. I mean, look, it's to me, the Chicago Bears have what it takes to start winning games. They just have to start winning games, really, if we're being honest.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they gave this game away. It was a chance for them to get back in the wild card race. So they got an uphill battle. J. Mark and I were talking about it earlier. They got the Falcons next week, so a potential get-right spot again, and then a favorable little stretch here. So we'll see if the Bears can continue to be feisty offensively.
And, of course, J-Mark in the chat. By the way, those of you listening on the podcast later on in the day, if you want to watch this live, it is Mondays around 2:15 Eastern. Check your Twitter. Follow the NFL Gambling Podcast. I almost forgot. It's like when you call your significant other by the wrong name. I almost did that. The NFL Gambling Podcast on Twitter. That way you know exactly the second we go live. But you can also join the chat with us as well. But yes, Justin bringing up the fact that Justin Fields sat in silence for 45 minutes in the locker room. I mean, you see it on his face every single week, how he wears this game on his sleeve, and it's got to be pressing on him that he has the opportunity to win games, and his defense could not keep Detroit from scoring 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter to pull this one out.
Yeah, no, it was a devastating blow, and then Chicago's defense has been inconsistent all year. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with these Bears going forward. I know J Mark will be tuned in.
J Mark will definitely be tuned in. All right, speaking of being tuned in, the Cleveland Browns fans were tuned in for their game against the Miami Dolphins. I see so many people on social media right now throwing just the Tua respect out there and shaming anyone that is disrespecting Tua at this point, because Miami now 7-3, 39-17 over the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland was only 3.5-point underdogs in this game, which means Miami completely destroyed the Browns. Just absolutely destroyed the Browns. 14 points in the first quarter, 10 in the second, then 16 in both the third. I'm sorry, 7 points for Miami. I'm reading the total. 10 points, 13 and 9 for Miami is how that scoring broke down, versus just 7 in the first, none in the second, 3 in the third, and 7 in the fourth for the Browns. You'd think I'd learn how to talk by now, but anyways, needless to say, it was all Miami all day.
Yeah, and what Sharquin said in the chat, the Dolphins have not lost a game that Tua has started this year. So that offense is rolling. They're dynamic with the running game. The San Francisco 49er running game with Mike McDaniel bringing over the Niner running backs is Mostert and Wilson. And then on top of it, you got Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle on the outside. They're hard to stop, and especially when they're playing down there in Miami on that fast turf, or if they're in a dome. So this Miami team, I mean, they're in first place for a reason. They're really good offensively, and they're getting better defensively too.
It's sad that Mostert got Wally pipped by Jeff Wilson again, and Mostert's not even hurt at this point. So I mean, he got Wally pipped without even the injury in it. They brought Jeff Wilson in, and Jeff Wilson's the shiny new penny, and they were like, "Oh, look at what we got this." So Wilson, 17 carries, 119 yards, and a touchdown on the day for Miami. Jalen Waddle once again outperforming Tyreek Hill in the passing game. 4 catches, 66 yards for Waddle, the leading receiver for the Dolphins. But, you know, Tua, 285 yards and 3 touchdowns. It just seems to be pretty pedestrian for him at that point.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, Tua's been great this year, and I mean, they're going to be in the playoffs. They're going to be right there in the playoff race, and we'll see if they can. Them and the Bills are now all of a sudden in a division race, which I don't think any of us saw coming.
No, well, maybe the Dolphins did. Maybe their fans, maybe their moms,
yeah.
Maybe their wives, maybe their relatives were thinking that. But yeah, a lot of folks weren't giving them that credit. Although Cleveland, on the other hand, they are probably what we thought they were going to be. They are now at 3-6. Brissett had them believing for just a minute, and then have promptly reminded us of why he's been a journeyman his entire career. 212 yards on 22 completions with 35 attempts and a touchdown. Nick Chubb, I mean, we love the guy, but 11 carries, 63 yards and a touchdown, plus he had a fumble. Not necessarily the kind of game you expect out of a guy like Nick Chubb. So there's a lot more questions than there are answers in Cleveland right now as they fall to 3-6.
Yeah, no, Cleveland's going in the wrong direction. I know they're going to get Watson back, but we'll see what even condition he's in once he does come back. Chubb, I mean, if Chubb doesn't run for 150 yards, it's hard for this Browns team to ever have the shot at winning anything.
Indeed. And again, for Chubb, you got to give him more carries. 11 carries is not enough. I mean, I get it that, you know, you were down 17-7 at the half, but you still got to come back and give Chubb more carries. That's just the way it is, you know, and that's the way you're going to have to win and keep Miami off the field. As cliche as it is, you keep Tua off the field, he's not going to score on you.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that's the blueprint.
Exactly. Over under on this one was 49, and Miami damn near got that all by themselves. So obviously, if you were an over better on this one, you won. But I mean, is this an over on Miami now? Just kind of a blanket over?
Yeah, I mean, they've been really good offensively the last 3 weeks. I know they haven't played the top-notch defenses, but 3 straight overs playing the Browns, Bears, and Lions now.
All right. So let's just stamp that blanket over for Miami.
Them and the Bears.
Them and the Bears. How about these next 2 teams? Are we blanketing over either one of these? And that is the Minnesota Vikings improving to 8-1. over the Buffalo Bills, 33-30 in Buffalo. Buffalo now 6-2. Minnesota was sick, where they were 6-point underdogs heading into this game, and many thought that number was too low, honestly, and should have been more. But for everybody out there, I don't have my Kirk Cousins drop about you like that, but I think he absolutely loves it at this point. Kirk Cousins just fired up. I don't know that he probably didn't try to fly that plane home after all of the craziness that he had on the last plane ride. I think he's going to be doing it here too. So the questions are now, Ryan, 1, is Minnesota for real? And 2, should Buffalo be worried?
I think both, yes. Buffalo has found ways to lose games over these last couple of weeks, or three of the games that they've lost all by combined 8 points, similar to what happened last year. And then we see what happens when they get in the playoffs. They lose a tight game. We know they can blow teams out with Josh Allen, but he's still making boneheaded mistakes that as good as he is, he should be beyond this with his experience now, but he continuously makes these mistakes. And then the Vikings, I mean, shout out to them, man. They continue to find ways to win. I don't know how they're doing it, but they're doing it.
Well, they're doing it because they've got fantastic playmakers like Dalvin Cook and like Justin Jefferson, who could probably just jump up and grab a plane out of the air one-handed. Are you frozen? He's frozen.
No, I said, yeah. I asked, how good is he? Oh my God,
no, he's fantastic. But you asked the question and you froze. I was like, wow, that's really good. No, listen. So, how good is Justin Jefferson? There's just I don't know that there is a word that is good enough to describe how fantastic this guy is. And yes, Justin, predicting the Vikes to win the NFC North was a fantastic call. They feel like they're going to run away with this at this point. But to get back to your question, Justin Jefferson is everything you would want out of a star wide receiver. He's Odell Beckham at his peak. He's, Randy Moss from back in the day. Like, he's got the Terrell Owens swagger as well. It's just, there's so much goodness in Justin Jefferson that watching him week after week is just a pleasure.
Yeah, no, he's awesome. There's no other way to put it. No, they can't cover him. I mean, this game had a little bit of everything in terms of a goal line stand and then a 4th and 18 conversion, then a fumbled for a touchdown. Then Josh Allen leads him back down to tie it. Then Josh Allen gets picked off to end it. It had everything in this game, potential game of the year.
So, full disclosure, they get to the point where they have it at the 1, right? And, the time all they got to do is just kneel down and get out of there. Right. So I said, okay, well, let me click over to the next game because this is it. Right. I told my wife, I was like, all they're going to do is kneel it down. So I click over to the next game. It's a commercial. And I was like, screw it. No, I don't have red zone, by the way. Any of you guys out there that are saying, well, why don't you have red zone? Cause I don't. But anyway, so I clicked over and there was commercial break. So I was like, okay, well, fine. Well, I just clicked back over to the other game. Sure enough, as I click back to the other game, he takes the snap and fumbles it. And I was like, ho. And my wife goes, see, you were going to switch the channels, huh? And I was like, no, I'm glad I didn't. Cause then I caught the rest of that game out. So I was in for, that was a hell of a finish to that game.
No doubt. And that's why she's the better half. She's like, see, you were ready to bail it in. And she's like, get back to that game so you could see the game of the year.
Yeah, she definitely, she knows better than I do. And that goes to every aspect of my life, kids. This is why. But yeah, all right, listen. So we've sung the praises of everybody. Kirk Cousins, 30 of 50 pass attempts. You got Dalvin Cook in your backfield and you're still throwing the ball 50 times. How crazy is that?
You like that?
I do. But look, that didn't stop Dalvin from getting his, right? 14 carries, 119 yards, although he had 81 yards. That one run was fantastic for Dalvin Cook. Most of his yards came off of that, but even still, what a beautiful, just vintage Dalvin Cook run.
Yeah, no doubt. He's awesome. I love watching it. And this Minnesota attack is tough to stop with those two wide receivers, Jefferson, of course, being the elite guy he is, and then Dalvin Cook on the ground.
Okay, but let's not forget about Stephon Diggs, whereas he's the other guy in the room that made a fantastic catch yesterday. He made 12 catches overall and 16 targets, 128 yards for Stephon Diggs. I mean, he was very, very visibly frustrated at the end of that game, but he still performed his ass off.
Well, it was a revenge game for him, but he was known for the great catch once upon a time in the Twin Tower City. So, shout out to Stephon Diggs. Him and Buffalo, they'll be all right.
Yeah, oh no, they'll definitely be fine. Again, these guys 6-3 now, Minnesota 8-1. I mean, Minnesota, they just got a couple more games, I think, to solidify their position, and then they can kind of cruise the rest of the way into the playoffs, even though I don't think they will, but there's something brewing over there in Minnesota. It's that Norse cold that they love so much. Over under on this one was 46 points. Smashed that one with 63 total. So again, maybe an auto over for both of these teams at this point as well. All right. Speaking of auto anything, I'm going to auto under both Denver and Tennessee for the rest of the season. Over under on this one was 39. Yes, as you see on there, Titans win 17-10, but it wasn't for a lack of them trying to lose. Honestly, Denver 2.5 point underdogs in this one. Obviously, they did not cover. So, I mean, look, Russell Wilson, he had 286 yards on the day, 1 touchdown, but this is not what Denver was hoping for when they got Russell Wilson at all.
Yeah, no, I saw a stat today. If they just scored 18 points every single game this year, they'd be 8-1. So for the fact that they're 3-6, tells you everything you need to know how bad Russell Wilson and that offense has been this year. And then Tennessee's another team. I don't know how they are what they are in terms of 6-3 overall, but they continuously just win these close, ugly games under Mike Vrabel.
Well, and look, Derrick Henry, 19 carries, 53 yards. Those are not Derrick Henry numbers, especially even against a team like the Broncos at all. But, you look at the other side of the ball, Latavius Murray, the leading rusher for Denver, 9 carries, 24 yards. Almost half of that came off of his 1 10-yard carry. I don't even know what's going on. Cortland Sutton, 6 catches, 66 yards as the leading receiver. There's just nothing to hang your hat on either one of these teams. And to be honest with you, for Tennessee, they're 6-3, like you said. They've got plans for the AFC South, but man, how ugly is it still?
Yeah, no, it's very ugly. But they this is what they are. I mean, last year it was always like they were kind of like the Minnesota Vikings this year, where you didn't know how they were winning all these games. And the Titans are going to win that division, but it'll be interesting to see once they do get to the playoffs if they can advance this time around.
Well, they're gonna have to score more points if they want to keep up with the Chiefs and the Bills and any of those guys, or the Dolphins even at this point, or the Jets if you want to even throw them in the mix, even though they took a week off. But yeah, I mean it's gonna be crazy for them. So I don't know, but I still think auto unders for Denver and Tennessee are in order going forward. I don't know that anything else makes sense.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there, Rod.
All right. Let's move over to the Indianapolis Colts and the Las Vegas Raiders. I tell you what, Indianapolis comes out of this to hand Mr. Saturday his first win as an NFL coach. The most improbable set of circumstances for Jeff Saturday to get tossed into the head coaching role, name his quarterback, recant that naming of the quarterback, put Matt Ryan back in, and all of a sudden walk away with a 5-point win over the Las Vegas Raiders in Las Vegas, thereby covering their 4.5-point spread as underdogs. I mean, look, I'm not saying that Indianapolis is back. They are now 4-5-1. Las Vegas is 2-7. But something encouraging is that Jonathan Taylor is back. 22 carries, 147 yards, and a touchdown for a lot of people's first overall pick in fantasy drafts. But Ryan, I mean, is this a sign of good things to come for Indy?
What a weird game, because nobody knew that Matt Ryan was starting. The game started, and you just see Matt Ryan trotting out there, and it's like, wait, what? I thought he was inactive. I thought he basically retired. And then, I mean, you got to give Saturday credit for taking over a weird situation. I think we can all agree that we've never seen before. Jim Irsay is a interesting character, is a good way to describe it. But I think the main headline is how disappointing these Las Vegas Raiders are. I know Derek Carr's breaking down in tears, but they've been beyond disappointing this year.
Well, and look, I love to see the type of emotion out of players like that because obviously, we watch them and we want them to be the best that they can be each and every week. And if they're not feeling each loss or whatever, or feeling bad performances, then that just says to me they're there for a paycheck. Maybe I shouldn't care quite as much. But even still, for a guy like Derek Carr, who you brought him his number one college weapon, right? You still have a fantastic running back in Josh Jacobs on that team. Darren Waller, you took away some defensive weapons from that squad, which kind of hindered them a little bit as well. But, I don't know the answers, obviously, because I'm not an NFL owner, nor am I a head coach. But you got to think at some point, these Raiders have to figure something out because they've got pieces, right? They've got a bunch of, I don't know who said it, but they got a bunch of dudes, right? They got a bunch of dudes. They just need to figure out how to get those dudes all together on the same page to start winning games.
Yeah, no, they've been beyond disappointing, and it's kind of a lost season. It will be interesting to see if management decides actually to move on from Josh McDaniels just after year number one, because this has been a train wreck to say the least.
We've seen coaches fired for less, so I wouldn't even necessarily be that surprised at all if that happens. So Vegas 2-7. I don't remember what the win total was for them going into the season, but I'm pretty sure I hammered the over on it, and I'm pretty sure that bet is not going to cash by the end of it.
Yeah, no, it's like going to be eliminated by like late next week, maybe.
I was going to say we may not see them reach 3 or 4, so they may be in the running for the first overall pick in the draft as well before it's all said and done.
Maybe they need a quarterback.
I don't know. I still think Derek Carr has it. I still think he does. He just needs, I don't know what he needs, to be honest with you. I mean, I know that he needs something, right? I mean, it's like me in elementary school and high school when all of my teachers kept saying, you have so much potential. You have so much potential. And that meant, basically that I wasn't doing well in school, which they were right because I didn't go. But they kept telling me you have so much potential. I feel like do you want to sit Derek Carr down and say, you have so much potential. I don't know what's going on with you. Why? But yeah, it's like a frustrated parent saying you need to play better. And I think he knows it too. Obviously, we saw it happen and play out in his press conference. He feels that he should be playing better.
Yeah, no doubt. It's beyond disappointing.
It is. All right, let's move over to I do have so much potential. Thank you, Sharkwine Cognito. All right, so let's move over to Arizona as they take down the Rams. It is the Arizona Cardinals 27, or was the Arizona Cardinals 27, the LA Rams 17. Cardinals came in as 3.5-point underdogs, but pulled out the win over the hated LA Rams. The defending Super Bowl champion LA Rams, by the way, who now sit at 3-6. Whereas the Arizona Cardinals are only one game better at them at 4-6. Hey, listen, I love to see carnage at the bottom of the NFC West because that just means that when the Niners are now above the fracas, I want them to stay that way. So I'm enjoying watching these two guys beat up on each other. But I think the headline of this is that Colt McCoy and John Wolford battled it out for this game. Oh my God, Ryan. Am I watching an AAF game or am I watching an NFL game?
You watch something. I don't know what to describe that. That was the worst game of the day. You can gloat all you want on this one because the Rams are awful. I mean, that offense is atrocious, unbearable to watch. Like you said, John Wolford versus Colt McCoy. Who would have had that going into the year as a Week 10 matchup? And I think these Rams are on auto fade until further notice.
I will auto fade them even if they were winning all the games. I don't care. I beat LA. Hashtag beat LA for us San Francisco fans out there. If you don't know, I think I wore this last Monday. So my repertoire of clothing, I guess, is being called out and suspect. But definitely.
Your Niners are 3-0 against the LA team, so you are beating LA often.
It's not a chant in San Francisco for nothing. That is our lifeblood. So I like the Army, right? The Army Black Knights in football. We're beat Navy. Hashtag beat Navy. Doesn't matter what happens. Yep. Doesn't matter who we're playing. Doesn't matter what else is going on around. It's hashtag beat Navy, right? Just like the San Francisco teams. Doesn't matter who we're playing. What anybody says beat LA, we're all right there with them. So thank you, Arizona, for living up to the beat LA part of this. But you're right, Ryan. Cam Akers, 6 carries, 22 yards, leading this rushing attack. Oh, I won't even call it a rushing attack. Leading people that walk with the ball that didn't get it from a pass. And half of that came from a 10-yarder. So, I mean, horrible stuff.
Yeah, beyond horrible. And I mean, I don't even want to give the Cardinals that much credit. I know they did win this game, but they still look shaky offensively as well. I know they had Colt McCoy, but it'll be interesting to see what they do with Kyler Murray going forward, because I don't know how banged up he really was. It sounded like it was more of a coach's decision.
I keep hearing the Call of Duty came out a couple of weeks ago. So
yeah, no, I hear that too. I don't know how truthful that is, but hey, there might be something to it, because I mean, it's about this time every year where the Cardinals, Cliff Kingsbury, Kyler Murray kind of tank a little bit.
Was his Fortnite updating? Was he just waiting for that to finish updating and downloading for him? Is that what happened?
I'm going to need some help on the chat, because I'm not up to date on my Fortnite or any of that stuff. I don't play any of those video games, so I'll depend on the D-gens in the chat for that one.
So you're saying you'd be a better quarterback than Kyler Murray, right? Yeah. That's what we're saying.
I'm saying that maybe I'm more qualified for 140 million from preparation standpoint.
You watch more film. That I can vouch for. I will totally vouch for that.
Now I don't have his ability, clearly, so that's why I'm sitting here doing the show with you and not playing football for the Arizona Cardinals.
Well, you know who was playing football for the Arizona Cardinals? James Conner. He's back. 21 carries, 69 yards, 2 touchdowns. A lot of happy people that James Conner is in the fold again.
And shout out to the chat. A fortnight is 2 weeks, Ryan. So thank you for that clarity.
Thank you to the folks that are British all there.
And J Mark, Fortnite is awesome. Per my 5-year-old nephew. Granted, I enjoy it, but don't tell anybody. Yeah, so maybe your nephew was playing one-on-one with Kyler Murray the other day.
On Sunday. All right. So the top receiver in this one, DeAndre Hopkins, 10 catches, 98 yards. It's just DeAndre Hopkins doing DeAndre Hopkins things. Unfortunately, he's on a team that doesn't necessarily have the same sort of talent that it did at one point. Even though they won, I'm still not necessarily all that thrilled about either one of these teams. So I don't care. Don't want to care. We'll never bet on them winning, even if they play each other. I will just bet for both of them to lose. So, yeah. And then, of course, yes, Justin Mark adding in there that Cardinals did drop Eno Benjamin today. And Ertz, that's right, I saw that early this morning, is out. Season-ending injury.
I saw that. That's disappointing.
Drop him if you have him, unfortunately. But that hampers that offense even more, to be honest with you.
No doubt.
So, all right, enough about those two losers. Let's move on to and listen, I say that because I am a loser, so I don't care. We know our kind, folks. Everyone's like, "Oh, you can't play." No, you're right. I can't. But I still can say that they're not good teams because I have eyes and I watch them play. All right, let's move on to Dallas and Green Bay. Woo, man, my daughter's thrilled. She is a Green Bay Packers fan. This game was almost as thrilling in the end as the Minnesota and Buffalo game, as Green Bay pulls out the win 31-28 over the Dallas Cowboys. Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers just limping along, 3.5 point underdogs to Dallas. Dallas now 6-3 and Green Bay 4-6. Over under on this one was 44. And obviously that went over. But listen, we got what we asked for out of this game and then some. Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is a great game, and finally a little bit of life from those cheeseheads in Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers finds Christian Watson 3 times, and then I've been saying it for about a month now. Green Bay, please run the football. Please run the football. And finally yesterday, Aaron Jones, 24 carries for 138, 5.5 yards a carry, and they got A.J. Dillon going for 13 carries for 65 yards. I know J. Mark hates all this Packers talk in the chat.
Yeah, he can't stand the Packers as a Bears fan, but the Packers were absolutely, like you said, the life was in them at this point. Aaron Jones, man, look, the hashtag free Aaron Jones thing is a real thing. Like you said, 138 yards, 30 yards as a long run. Just really what we wanted to see out of Aaron Jones all season long. So I don't know, maybe this means that Green Bay has a little more life heading into it now, tasting another victory. I mean, look, they've got 4 of them on the year, but none of them have felt good. This had to have felt good against a team like the Cowboys, who came in with, Dak Prescott humming, Tony Pollard doing Tony Pollard things. They didn't even miss Zeke, to be honest with you. 22 carries for Pollard, 115 yards and a touchdown. CeeDee Lamb with 150 yards on 11 catches. Dak Prescott, 3 touchdown passes. Did have those 2 interceptions, though. Very costly. But, I don't know if you're nervous being Dallas going forward. This was just a very, very pinned against the wall Packers team that needed this win to salvage anything good out of their season.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. This was a final stand game, coming off the 3 losses on the road and the one with the Jets before that, and then London to the Giants. So 5 in a row. They needed a win in the worst way in Green Bay. They're 4-6, and we'll see if they get right a little bit, kind of like Tampa Bay, establishing the run. They got the Titans on deck on Thursday night. So this was my dog, so I will pat my back here. I hit my dog for the day, so go Pack, go.
Did I tease this one? I can't remember what my lock was. San Francisco. My dog was, I believe it was Arizona, actually. That was my dog. And then I believe I teased Green Bay, didn't I?
You teased Minnesota, which you hit. You teased Detroit, which you hit. And then New Orleans screwed you.
Yeah, New Orleans blew my tease, my perfections.
How do you lose to Pittsburgh by more than 7.5? Pittsburgh can't even score.
I don't know, my friend. That was something that I'm going to have words with all of New Orleans for that. It was Andy Dalton's fault. I'll just blame him.
Yes.
All right, let's move on to the next game, the final game, the game that I love the most, and that was San Francisco #beating LA 22-16 against the LA Chargers, the AFC version of those Chargers. The Chargers in some spots were 7.5-point underdogs, in others 8.5. So if you had them at 8.5, you were happy. If you had them at 7.5, you wanted to jump off a cliff because it was, of course, an 8-point victory for the San Francisco 49ers. All right, we joked about it earlier about maybe not having Jimmy G throw a touchdown pass is the answer for the San Francisco 49ers. But here's one thing I want to address before any of that. There was a lot of crying, a lot of gnashing of teeth of why you sit Christian McCaffrey so much in that game. Guys, as a Niners fan, I've watched Elijah Mitchell do fantastic things on the field. Now that he's back, you have to work him back in. You can't leave him sitting there on the sidelines collecting dust. This is about the truest of 1A, 1B that you have at the running back position in this league right now, because both of these guys are obviously one alpha running backs. So why not get them back involved? You saw Elijah Mitchell bust off huge gains almost every time he touched the ball. McCaffrey had some good runs. He was stuffed a lot of times as well. So it's just a matter of you play to your strengths. And when you have 2 fantastic running backs, you use 2 fantastic running backs. This isn't like a 2-quarterback system where if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none, right? This is where you have 2 good running backs. You pump all of them. So I don't know. It's just me. I know that there's a lot of people who are like, well, you never sit McCaffrey doing what, look, if you got 2 great assets at running back, you play them both. And of course, it played out in their favor. San Francisco ended up winning. Should they have handed Christian McCaffrey the ball at the 1-yard line that one time? Yeah, they should have, but they didn't. And that's neither here nor there. But go ahead and read the question there, Ryan.
I'm gonna let you, because this is your team, Rod. What's Mitchell's value fantasy wise moving forward?
Well, it's definitely hindered by the fact that McCaffrey's in there. So I would say that this probably relegates him to a flex, maybe a back end RB2 type of a situation, because I don't necessarily see him garnering running back 1 all the time. Although, I mean, he had 18 carries for 89 yards. He did lead the team in rushing despite McCaffrey in there. But again, 8.9 yards in a PPR or 8.9 points in a PPR is not running back 1. It's not even running back 2. Like, this is flex on a bye week type numbers. So going forward, if he falls in the end zone, maybe he'll give you running back 2 value. But from now going forward, I'd say you treat him as a high end flex and with the upside of RB2. So that's my recommendation.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there, Rod. And I'll piggyback off your point of the 2 running back system. I think people forget Christian McCaffrey has been extremely vulnerable to injuries over the years too. So if they can, I guess the term in the NBA or basketball term is load management, but they don't need to kill him right now. I mean, the Niners have bigger aspirations than just beating the Chargers on a Sunday night in week number 10. This team is built to hopefully win and get to February, where they almost have won the Lombardi Trophy 2 out of the last 3 years. So, and they're going to need him if they're going to do so.
And that was precisely it too. I mean, this is why you don't give him the ball 40 times a game. You know, this is why you preserve him for when you really, really need him. And when you've got a guy like Elijah Mitchell, why not? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Now, if this was Christian McCaffrey and maybe Chuba Hubbard, yeah, of course you give McCaffrey the ball 4 out of 5 times. But, you know, you got a guy like Elijah Mitchell, it's okay to spell him for a drive and to save Christian McCaffrey for later. It's not, you know, it's not necessarily beat the guy up now that you have him. Use him when you can, and then rest him more often than you really think you need to. So, all right, for the Niners going forward, I have high hopes they're going to win every single game and win the Super Bowl as well. But for the Chargers, I don't know. I mean, they didn't look all that good against the Niners. And, you know, Herbert, 196 yards and a touchdown. Eckler, 24 yards rushing. Not good.
Yeah, no, I mean, the Chargers hit him in the mouth early, and I was like, okay, we got a little live dog here with the Chargers being a touchdown underdog, but they got to get their weapons back. They need Mike Williams back. They need Keenan Allen back. And Herbert's banged up too as well, so they got to get their horses back, and they got Kansas City next week, so it'll be interesting to see with these Chargers going forward.
Last question before we move on to the look-aheads from our buddy Shark Quinn over there. Are the Chargers going to miss the playoffs? I don't think they will. I don't think they can. With the expanded playoffs being what it is, I think they're going to do just enough to get into the playoffs. Advancing, that's another story, though.
It's going to be hard for them to get there, though, because you look at it with the 3 wildcard spots you're looking at, that AFC East is a juggernaut right now with Buffalo being a wild card, I guess, as of now, and Miami. So, like, one of those two is obviously a wild card. I think we all agree both those teams are going to be playoff bound. New England, you can never count them out with Bill Belichick and that pedigree. And then the Jets, I know the Jets are the Jets, but they're feisty. And then you got to worry about the Bengals as well. I think it comes down to the wire. I could see them missing the playoffs, and I will guarantee this. If they do miss the playoffs, Brandon Staley is fired the next day.
Oh, absolutely. There's no question about it. Yep. That's heads are going to roll. All right, let's move on to, oh no, you're fine. Football Outsiders gives them a 44% chance to make it. And then 538 gives them a 40% chance as well. So the experts not loving the chances for the Chargers to make the playoffs. So we'll see. They got a lot of work to do at this point. To be honest with you, the other AFC teams looked a lot more convincing in the top ones, at least in their games, than did the Chargers. So, all right, let's step away. When we come back, we're going to give you some week 12 look ahead lines. We're looking way past week 11. We're looking to week 12 for our look aheads, and we'll recap how we did in the ones from last week as well. Some good stuff. But before we do, I want to tell you right now, get your holiday shopping done early, like right now. Well, okay, wait till you finish this, but then right after, get your holiday shopping done at the SGPN merch store. The SGPN gear is the perfect stocking stuffer for the DGen in your life. We already told you a couple weeks ago, there is a fantastic holiday sweater from the SGPN. It says, let it ride. It's got the SGP. It's not an ugly sweater. I can't call it an ugly sweater. You can wear it to an ugly sweater party, but just let them know that this is not an ugly sweater. It's an amazing DGen sweater. It's from the SGPN. It says, let it ride. It is our company motto, and it's fun to wear around. Also, make sure you get all your NFL gambling podcast stuff, or maybe some NASCAR gambling stuff, or some F1 gambling stuff. And then I got to tell them about the shirt that says, "Ask me about my third leg." Oh my God. I love live chats in live reads. All right, listen, let's just make sure you get your shopping done at the merch store. Plus, from now until Thanksgiving, get 10% off when you use the promo code Dallas Sucks. It is the company motto, other than let it ride. That's store.sportsgamblingpodcast.com. Promo code Dallas Sucks. All one word. Dallas.
That's a great promo. You know, I smile every time I hear that because, yes, Dallas sucks. Dallas sucks.
Dallas sucks.
The company motto here.
Speaking of Dallas sucks, we're taking a look ahead at some of the Week 12 lines. If you're curious as to where you can find these lines, everybody every week asks me, Rod, where do you find these lines? Where do you find them so far ahead? Well, I find them on oddstrader.com. And of course, you can find which book they are being offered at the time of my reading. Normally there's a few good lines that are already out and we jump ahead of them. But Ryan, how do we do in our week? Me and Justin, actually, in our last show, how do we do?
I did, and I had to listen to your guys' episode to get the number. So shout out to you guys for getting the better of the number. The Tennessee Titans, you guys gave out +4.5 on Thursday Night Football at Lambeau. It's down to 3, so you got a 1.5 of value there. You gave out the Jets +6.5 down to 3 in New England, so over a field goal of value. Your biggest hit was the Eagles were 3-point underdogs somehow to the Indianapolis Colts. They're favored by 8, so more than 10 points of value. The Browns stayed the same, 9-9 in Buffalo. But in fairness to you guys handicapped it as we think Josh Allen might miss time. So that was why you elected to go with the Browns. So not a bad, you didn't lose any value. So, and then the last but not least, the Dallas Cowboys sucks promo. You guys gave out Dallas as a pick 'em. They're favored by 1. So a little bit of value there. So overall, another successful look ahead line segment.
Still time for those to move as well. So we got a little bit of time to jump on those before they do. So, all right, Ryan, what are you eyeballing as one of your first look aheads?
I'm going to go to the Thanksgiving game. I'm seeing Buffalo -9.5 in Detroit. That thing's going to be close to 2 touchdowns when we are all eating our Thanksgiving turkeys come November, the 24th here in 10 days. So go grab the Bills right now, -9.5 at Week 12 on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, there's just no way on God's green earth that line's going to stay put where it is. So grab it now while you can. All right, I'm going to go with another Thanksgiving Day game, and that's New England and Minnesota. They've got the Patriots as 2-point underdogs here. After what we saw this week, I'm surprised that line hasn't moved already. So I got to think that by the time Thanksgiving rolls around, you're going to see this jump up to at least 7, if not 8 points as an underdog I get it. I get that New England is a better team than most, but Minnesota just beat the Bills, and there's no way that this is going to stay at 2.5.
I got you down. Yep. My Vikings are -2.5. I agree. It'll be definitely north of a field goal, probably around that touchdown mark.
Absolutely. All right, hit us with another one there, Ryan.
Oh, this one's easy. Go get this literally right now. Kansas City is only favored by 2.5 at Arrowhead against the LA Rams, who have potentially the worst offense in the NFL.
Oh, really though?
Yes.
Sometimes I wonder what these early line makers are doing. They're probably just throwing it out there like, oh, hey, let's see. Maybe this is a field goal game. Sure. That's what I'm feeling. All right. Speaking of a field goal game, how about Carolina and Denver? Right now, Denver is 3.5-point favorites over the Carolina Panthers. This is going to move down. Carolina is not going to be 3.5-point underdogs going forward about a week. I have a feeling that if they don't switch, because especially depends on how they do this coming week, right? If Carolina wins again and Denver loses again, then I think Carolina comes in as the favorite. This may even flip to the point where Carolina is favored in this game. But I don't see this staying at 3.5 as an underdog for Carolina much longer.
No doubt. I'm with you on that one. And I know you're going to co-sign me on this last one of mine. I got the Niners -4 against the Saints in the Bay Area. that thing's going to be north of a touchdown. We just saw them last night as -7.5 against the LA Chargers. The Chargers are better than the Saints. So go grab that right now before it gets north of a touchdown.
Well, I agree with you on that one because it's San Francisco, man, and they're going to kill the Saints, and I'm going to enjoy every minute of it. All right, I'm going to wrap things up with the Philly and Green Bay game. Right now, it's a pick 'em across the board. I understand. I understand that Green Bay just beat Dallas. I get it, but I still don't think this is going to stay a pick 'em very long. And in fact, I feel like after tonight, sorry, Ryan, that Philly is going to end up being favorites in this game, win or lose, honestly, to be honest with you. And again, they still have another week to kind of solidify that in week 11. But I feel like Philly's going to come into this favorite. So grabbing Green Bay and Philly as a pick 'em right now is a good pick.
Yeah, no, the Eagles will need a get-right spot after they come off their first loss tonight.
Okay, I'll give you that one as well. I'll give you that one as well. They'll come out and they'll thump in week 11 after getting beat in handed their first loss in week 10.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely getting fired after the show for saying that.
It was nice knowing you, Ryan.
Yeah,
definitely. All right, read back what we picked for everybody out there so they can get in on this now.
Yes, sir. So rapid fire. Go grab the Bills minus the 9.5 at Detroit. Go grab the Vikings minus 2.5 at home Thanksgiving night against the Patriots. Go grab the Chiefs minus 2.5 at home against the Rams. Go grab the Panthers plus 3.5 at home against the Broncos. Go grab Rod's 49ers minus a 4 against why am I drawing a blank? Oh, the Saints. Yes. And then go grab the Eagles and a pick 'em on Sunday Night Football against the Aaron Rodgers Packers.
Indeed. Love all of that, man. That's my favorite part. I love recapping action. I love doing that. But I love when my microphone continues to go out. It does. Jesus Christ, live TV. All right. Yes, I love that part of the show because I love being able to give folks value and to be able to just have fun looking ahead.
No doubt. And then, yes, thank you, J Mark. Another good show for us. I love the look ahead segment for everybody. I like you, I used to look at it, but I never really studied it until we started doing this segment on this Monday show. And it's been very profitable unit wise for everybody, I think.
Yep. We're all about unit management. We don't tell you what units to put down on games, but we very much love you to actually know how to manage them. And if we're giving you free units here and there, why not, right?
No doubt.
All right, Ryan, as we wrap things up, why don't you let everybody know where they can find you on social media?
Yeah, for everybody watching on YouTube live right now, you can find me on Twitter at Moneyline_Mac, and I'm in the Discord as well. Hit me up anytime. I am all over the college basketball experience. It's college basketball season. We do a show every night, 7 days a week. The database, Colby, Danton, and I. So come check us out. So we're there every single night. And I just saw some other pods. The World Cup is coming, so we just dropped the World Cup pod. Go check out the NBA gambling podcast as well. The college football experience. College football is wrapping up. And then go check out all Rod's work as well. So, Rod, tell everybody where to find yourself.
I will, and he'll be soon to be replacing me on the Propcast, so be on the lookout for that. No, I'm just kidding. Find me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Find me all over this network, the NASCAR Gambling Podcast, the F1 Gambling Podcast, the CFL Gambling Podcast, the Propcast, and so much more. Again, just download the app, subscribe to all of them. You'll hear my voice at some point. Find the link in my Twitter bio to everything I got going on as well, whether it's Sportsbook Review, whether it's In Between Media, whether it's here. All right, everybody. Good show. Good to see you all again. We'll see you next Monday for another Week 11 breakdown and then a Week 13 look ahead. But until then, everybody, enjoy your football and let it ride.